Welcome to Let's Listen to the Law. I was getting curious about strange laws that I might find in the US, and I came across quite a few of them that, upon little digging, found out many of them were just urban legends. However, I was able to find these 7 laws that are actually on the books as far as I can tell. So let's start off reading these 7 strange American laws you probably didn't know are still on the books. Number 1 comes from Louisiana. Ordering food under someone else's name without permission is illegal in Louisiana. It would appear this law was made to stop prank food orders. Let's listen to Louisiana Revised Statute, Section 14:68.6. Unauthorized ordering of goods or services. A. It is unlawful for any person to intentionally place an order for any goods or services to be supplied or delivered to another person when all of the following circumstances apply. 1. The person receiving the goods or services has not previously authorized such an order, does not reside with the person who placed the order, and the goods or services are not being given as a gift to that person. 2. The person receiving the goods or services is required to pay for such goods or services, either in advance or upon delivery, and has not previously agreed to do so, or is required to return the items to the sender at his expense. 3. The person placing the order for goods or services intends to harass or annoy the person receiving such goods or services. B. Receipt and use of an item described in this section by the receiver shall constitute an affirmative defense to prosecution under this section. C. If the person who places the order for goods or services is told by the customer who receives the goods or services that the customer did not desire the goods or services, the customer is released from any obligation to pay for such goods or services, and the providing person shall not be liable under this section. D. Whoever violates subsection A shall be fined not more than $500 or imprisoned for not more than 6 months, or both. E. In addition to any other sentence imposed under this section, the sentencing court, in its discretion, may require the offender to make restitution to the victim for any loss to the victim caused by the offense. Let's move on to the state of Georgia. In Gainesville, Georgia, the self-declared poultry capital of the world, there is a municipal ordinance designating fried chicken as finger food. The law was adopted in 1961 as a publicity stunt to promote Gainesville as the poultry capital of the world. To my knowledge, this is still on the books as a law. I was unable to find the actual ordinance in writing. However, I was able to read some summaries of it, and it goes something like this. Fried chicken is a culinary delicacy sacred to this municipality and must be eaten with the fingers. Next, we go to North Carolina. You cannot be influenced by alcohol while playing bingo. I can only imagine what circumstances led them to enact a law very specific like this. Let's listen to North Carolina General Statute Section 18B-308, Sale and Consumption at Bingo Games. It shall be unlawful to sell or consume, or for the owner or other person in charge of the premises to allow the sale or consumption of any alcoholic beverage in any room while a bingo game is being conducted in that room, under Part 2 of Article 37 of Chapter 14 of the General Statutes. Next, we move on to Wisconsin. Back in the day, margarine was substantially cheaper than butter. It was so popular that I recall reading my grandmother's written recipes calling for oleo, no mention of butter. Well, Wisconsin was serious about protecting its dairy production. So here we have Wisconsin Statute 97.18, oleomargarine regulations. 1A. For the purposes of this section, oleomargarine or margarine includes oleomargarine, margarine, butterine, and other similar substances, fats and fat compounds sufficiently adaptable to the ordinary uses of butter to lead readily to use as an alternative to butter. But this section shall not apply to lard, cream cheese, cheese food compounds, nor to any other dairy product made exclusively of cow's milk or milk solids with or without added vitamins, if such product is sold or distributed in such manner and form as will clearly distinguish it from butter. Nor shall this section apply to shortenings not churned or emulsified in milk or cream, or having a melting point of 112 degrees Fahrenheit or more, as determined by the capillary tube method, unless there is sold or given away with such shortening any compound which, when mixed with such shortening, makes oleomargarine, butterine, or similar substances. B. Colored oleomargarine or colored margarine is oleomargarine or margarine having a tint or shade containing more than 1/16 degrees of yellow or of yellow and red collectively, but with an excess of yellow over red, as measured in terms of Lovibond tintometer scales or its equivalent. 3. No person shall sell, offer, or expose for sale at retail any oleomargarine or margarine unless A. Such oleomargarine or margarine is packaged. B. The net weight of the contents of any package sold in a retail establishment is 1 pound. C. There appears on the label of the package the word oleomargarine or margarine in type or lettering at least as large as any other type or lettering on the label in a color of print which clearly contrasts with its background, and a full accurate statement of the ingredients contained in the oleomargarine or margarine. And D. Each part of the contents of the package is contained in a wrapper or separate container which bears the word oleomargarine or margarine in type or lettering not smaller than 20-point type. 4. The serving of colored oleomargarine or margarine at a public eating place as a substitute for table butter is prohibited unless it is ordered by the customer. 5. The serving of oleomargarine or margarine to students, patients, or inmates of any such institutions as a substitute for table butter is prohibited, except that such substitution may be ordered by the institution superintendent when necessary for the health of a specific patient or inmate, if directed by the physician in charge of the patient or inmate. 6. Any person who violates any provision of this section may be fined not less than $100 nor more than $500, or imprisoned not more than 3 months, or both. And for each subsequent offense may be fined not less than $500 nor more than $1,000, or imprisoned in the county jail not less than 6 months, nor more than 1 year. Yes, I know I skipped number 2, but every version of this statute that I read is mysteriously missing section 2. All right, let's move on to number 5 from the state of Delaware. Here is a law to protect our furry friends. 11 Delaware Code section 1325A, the unlawful trade in dog or cat byproducts, Class B misdemeanor, Class A misdemeanor, penalties. A1. A person is guilty of the unlawful trade in dog or cat byproducts in the 2nd degree if the person knowingly or recklessly sells, barters, or offers for sale or barter the fur or hair of a domestic dog or cat, or any product made in whole or in part from the fur or hair of a domestic dog or cat. 2. This subsection shall not apply to the sale or barter or offering for sale or barter of the fur or hair of a domestic dog or cat which has been cut at a commercial grooming establishment or at a veterinary office or clinic or for scientific research purposes. 3. The unlawful trade in dog or cat byproducts in the second degree is a Class B misdemeanor. B1. A person is guilty of the unlawful trade in dog or cat byproducts in the first degree if the person knowingly or recklessly sells, barters, or offers for sale or barter the flesh of a domestic dog or cat or any product made in whole or in part from the flesh of a domestic dog or cat. 2. The unlawful trade in dog or cat byproducts in the first degree is a Class A misdemeanor. C. In addition to any other penalty provided by law, any person convicted of a violation of this section shall be 1. Prohibited from owning or possessing any domestic dog or cat for 15 years after said conviction, except for those grown, raised, or produced within the state for resale, where the person has all necessary licenses for such sale or resale, and receives at least 25% of the person's annual gross income from such sale or resale. 2. Subject to a fine in the amount of $2,500 in any court of competent jurisdiction, and 3. Required to forfeit any domestic dog or cat illegally owned in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 79 of Title III. D. For the purposes of this section, the term domestic dog or cat means a dog, Canis familiaris, or cat, Felis catus or Felis domesticus, that is generally recognized in the United States as being a household pet, and shall not include coyote, fox, lynx, bobcat, or any other wild or commercially raised canine or feline species, the fur or hair of which is recognized for use in warm clothing and outerwear by the United States Department of Agriculture, and which species is not recognized as an endangered or threatened species by the United States Fish and Wildlife Service or the Delaware Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control. Next, let's move over to Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, they have an old law that makes certain alterations and uses of the national anthem unlawful. It's found in Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 264, Section 9. National Anthem, Manner of Playing. Whoever plays, sings, or renders the Star-Spangled Banner in any public place, theater, motion picture hall, restaurant or cafe, or at any public entertainment other than as a whole and separate composition or number, without embellishment or addition in the way of national or other melodies, or whoever plays, sings, or renders the Star-Spangled Banner, or any part thereof, as dance music, as an exit march, or as a part of a medley of any kind, shall be punished by a fine of not more than $100. Number 7, from Oregon. There is an administrative rule that requires air drying of dishes and utensils after sanitizing, if you're running a licensed daycare center or food service tied to one. So do not try to towel dry those utensils. Oregon Administrative Rules 414-300-0260. Cleaning, sanitizing, and storage of food service equipment and utensils. 1. Tableware and kitchenware, e.g., pots, pans, and equipment, shall be washed, rinsed, and sanitized after each use. A. When mechanical cleaning and sanitizing methods are used, the requirements in the Health Division's Administrative Rules OAR 333-150-0000 Food Sanitation Rule Food sanitation rules shall be met. B. When manual washing, rinsing, and sanitizing of dishes and equipment is used, the requirements in the Health Division's Administrative Rules OAR 333-150-0000 Food Sanitation Rule, food sanitation rules shall be met. 2. Food contact surfaces of equipment shall be washed, rinsed, and sanitized after each use. 3. All multi-use utensils and counters, shelves, tables, refrigeration equipment, sinks, drain boards, dish tables, cutting boards, appliances, and other equipment or utensils used for food preparation shall be kept clean and in good repair. 4. After being sanitized, all tableware, equipment, and utensils shall be air dried. 5. After being cleaned and sanitized, tableware and utensils shall be A. Stored in a clean, dry place protected from insects, dust, and other contamination, and B. Handled in a way that protects them from contamination. There you have it. 7 laws still on the books that are a bit unique. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. And if you want to listen to more laws, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you.